1045 The Team, your home for New York sports. We're joined by Lawrence Tynes, former kicker of the New York Giants, right now with Levack Goz. So last night, Dan Carpenter just gets his legs get dove into by Richard Sherman. As a kicker, when you see that play, what goes through your mind?
I get upset for the kicker. It was kind of an interesting play. I think he had time to stop personally. But I could understand what Richard Sherman was doing. He's obviously a very smart guy. He did get his hand on the ball. So if you make contact with the kicker after you touch the ball, by rule, it's not technically a foul. But, I think he should have stopped. And obviously the kicker has his head down, so he probably didn't even see Richard Sherman. Dan's just trying to make the kick. So, but it should have been a personal foul, in my opinion. 15 yards, makes it a more makeable field goal for Dan. And I think it would have changed the game at the end of the game last night.
You touched on Dan being so focused on the ball, he may not see Richard Sherman coming towards him. Is there any way in a situation like that the kicker can protect themselves?
It's hard to say. I mean, I would say no. I mean, he's so focused on what he's doing, and me being in those situations before, you're just so focused on keeping your head down and kicking the ball. That's happened to me a couple of times. Patrick Peterson laid me out in Arizona in 2010 or 11. I can't remember which year. Same situation. He was way offsides and, just hit me right in the hip. And I didn't see him because I had my head down. So people will say on the outside that he should have seen it, but, I mean, they've never been in that position. It's hard to talk about.
Lawrence Tynes with us right now, former kicker in the NFL, two-time Super Bowl champion with the New York Giants on 104.5 The Team, your home for New York sports. Lawrence, there's so many people who talk about the kickers like, oh, all they do is flop and this, that. You're trained to make sure that everybody knows you took a hit, right? Just kind of separate from what happened last night. Obviously, Dan Carpenter got blown up, but aren't you kind of trained to make sure that we know you got contacted?
Yeah, I mean, you've seen it a couple times. Even in the Giants game Sunday, I want to say Caleb Sturgis got hit right in his plant leg after the kick. That should have been a penalty, in my opinion. I didn't want it to be because it was against the Giants, but that was a penalty. Anytime you're in that position where your kicking leg is up and your plant leg's down, you're very vulnerable. And the safest way to get out of it is to fall, because you don't want to have a planted leg and have somebody hit you, as your leg is planted, because then you're going to have a pretty significant injury. So to say you're trained to fall, I don't know. I just think that anytime you get hit by 280-pound D lineman or corners coming off the edge at 50 miles an hour, you're going to fall anyway.
And Lawrence,
fair point.
Yeah, Lawrence, you tweeted this out last night, and I'm sure there was a lot of sarcasm layered on this tweet, but you tweeted, quote, "New rule at the end of the half game, just blow the kicker up, make traitors come on the field, kicker goes off, your team wins, insane rule." Yes.
I mean, obviously things happen all the time in football. You think you've seen it all until last night. I mean, that was a perfect scenario. Dan Carpenter's hurt. Obviously, trainers have to attend to him, but then they say he can't come in for that play. And then they have to go out and clock the ball, and then the ref is sitting over the ball like a penguin on a newborn. And they, but I'll say this. I think they have a young punter. The responsibility of the play clock on a field goal is up to the holder. And he should have seen that, because his job is to watch the play clock. All he has to do is raise his hand. You've seen guys do it all the time on kicking downs. And if he pushes his hand up and down in the air, they get a whole reset play clock. That, to me, was the biggest screw-up last night, because he makes that field goal. And, they take it off the board, delay a game for whatever reason, because the ref's standing over the ball. He moves out of the way. The clock literally hits 0. Dan makes the kick. That play should have never happened with the delay game. They should have got a reset play clock, and they would have had their 3 points. I mean, to ask him to go back to 54 yards, it's a tough kick, and, obviously he missed it. But he should have been, he should have gotten the 3 points on the board without the delay game.
Lawrence Tynes with us right here on 104.5 The Team. So, Lawrence, we're fans of multiple teams here at 104.5 The Team. I grew up a Raiders fan. Goz grew up a Bucs fan. So 2 weeks ago, we're out live at an event watching the teams go at it. and multiple kicks missed, one from a first round, well, both first round draft pick guys. Have you noticed a little more inconsistency in kicking this year, or is it the rules that have affected it?
I've seen a lot of inconsistency. I mean, if you look at the numbers, I think 14 or 15 guys right now are under 80%, which is very rare for the NFL. I think the thing that's kind of magnified it is there's several in big situations that are not making kicks, and I don't have an explanation for it. A lot of those guys probably have not been put in that position for a while. I mean, obviously Sebastian missed a couple in Tampa. It's been a long time since they've played relevant football, so maybe that has something to do with it. But definitely glaring in the pressure situations, guys are just not coming through.
And it's tough. And Levack, I brought this up to him before, it seems as if now in the NFL more so than ever, the kicker is one of the most important guys out on the field. Do you believe that now we're going to see money and all this focus on finding that kicker, because whether it's an extra point or that deep field goal, that's going to affect an outcome of a game?
Yeah, and I think it's been like that for a while, but now with the PAT at 33, it's definitely given more value to the kicker. You see the Justin Tuckers of the world, the Gostkowskis. I mean, all those guys are making, $4 million a year, which is very good money in the grand scheme of things. Those guys are, I think you pay the guys that are getting it done, and then I think what you're seeing now with the young guys like Aguayo, you talk about, coming into the NFL used to be a pretty easy transition for a kicker. If you could make an argument that kicking in college is sometimes more difficult because of the hash marks and then the crappy snapping and holding. You get in the NFL, everything's from the middle of the field technically. You got great snaps, you got great holds. Guys were transitioning very easily. You look at Blair Walsh, rookie year, Pro Bowler. You look at some of the other young guys that came in and did very well. Aguayo has had to come in and deal with this 33-yard PAT. And so the pressure on these guys is immense right now, and everyone says, well, it's 33 yards. I think it's more to the fact that it's a PAT. In our heads and in your heads and the fans' heads and everyone that watches football, PATs are automatic, or so they have been. So now you're expected to make this PAT. I mean, they've almost doubled the distance. I mean, they've increased the distance by, 65%, 13 yards. I mean, that's a significant change in the game.
Lawrence Tynes, two-time Super Bowl champion with the New York Giants, NFL kicker. A guy like Odell Beckham Jr. starts messing with your kicking net, flirting with it, hitting it, all those things. What do you say to him? You don't let that slide, do you?
Oh, I'd have to talk to Odell about that. Can't be messing with my kicking net. I don't mess with your receiver gloves or your quarterback. You stay away from my net.
Was there ever anybody on the Giants who was like that, where you're like, listen, I just need to make sure I know where my stuff is because he may turn it into a taunting celebration type thing?
No, that's, Odell's a unique guy, man. He's fun to watch. He plays to the crowd. That's the first and hopefully the last time we ever see a kicker or a receiver propose to a kicking net.
He's Lawrence Tynes. He brought some hardware to New York, and we love him for it. We appreciate you taking some time and helping us sort through some of this Dan Carpenter mess this morning. Thank you, sir.
You got it. Thanks for having me, guys.